SCP refer to the crude, refined or edible protein. SCP extracted from pure microbial culture. SCP used as a protein supplement for human and animals. Microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, yeast, algae. Microorganisms grow using substrate like agriculture waste, namely wood, shaving, sawdust, and human animal waste materials. Microorganisms utilize carbon and nitrogen present in these materials, convert into high quality protein. This protein we can as a supplement. Uh, SCP classified into two types, the food grade and feed grade. SCP suitable for human utilizing, it is known as the food grade. SCP suitable for animal feed as a supplement, it is referred as feed grade. Let us see the composition of SCP. High protein content, it is about 60 to 80% of dry cell weight, fat, carbohydrate, nucleic acid, vitamin, minerals, and lysine and methionine. It is the essential amino acid. The certain advantages of using microorganism for SCP production. The microorganism grow at a very fast under the optimal cultural condition. Quality and quantity of protein contained in a microorganism is better compared to the higher plant and animal. A wide range of raw materials such as wasted used for SCP production. The culture condition fermentation process of production of SCP is very simple. My next slide shows the basic step of SCP production. The first is raw material, second selection of suitable strain, third is fermentation process, four is harvesting, and fifth is post-harvesting treatment, sixth is SCP processing for food. On the right side, the flow chart of SCP production. In, in case of semi-solid fermentation, no change in fermentation medium. That is no need for filtration step. First step of production of SCP is raw material. Raw material is very important for SCP production. The most commonly used raw material group in the following categories: high energy sources, waste products, wood, carbon dioxide, and sewage obtained from industrial waste. The first category include production of SCP from high energy. This include alkane, methane, methanol, ethane, and bacteria and yeast. Now coming to the alkane. The cell grow on medium content alkane. Certain is using alkane for producing of SCP. Saccharomyces lipolytica, Candida tropicals, Candida oleophila. The several companies have developed the fermentation system employing the petroleum products for producing SCP by yeast at a large scale. There are two types of petroleum products. The first is gas oil or diesel oil containing 25% of alkane with a carbon length carbon 15 to carbon 13. That is the long chain alkane. And second is the carbon range carbon 10 to carbon 17. That is the short chain alkane isolated from gas oil. A drawback of using alkane as a substrate, alkane formation of carcinogen with SCP which are harmful. Next is methane. Some bacteria use of methane for production of SCP. For example, Methylococcus capsulatus, Methylomonas methionica, Methylobibrio suingine. Bacterial enzyme methane oxygenous oxidase convert methane to methanol and formaldehyde to formic acid. Methanol is a good substrate for the production of SCP. Methanol as a carbon source of for SCP, methanol is easily soluble in aqueous phase at all concentration and no residue remain in the harvested biomass. Natural gas, coal, oil, methane are the source of methanol. The many species of bacteria produce SCP from methanol. For example, Methylobacter, Arthobacter, Bacillus, Pseudomonas, and Vibrio. It's like Candida iodine, Hansonella polymorpha, etc. And fungi such as Trichoderma, Ligonium, Galeocardium, deliquescence. Ethanol is the substrate for the producing SCP for human consumption, but it's not economically feasible because innovative fermentation technology, political decision, and foreign trade balance influence production of SCP. Therefore, SCP is not produced at a large scale from substrate of ethanol. Next category of raw materials for SCP production after the high energy source is the production from the waste. Molasses, whey, animal waste, straw, and bagasse are source of waste material. These waste products from the various industry, biological process, agricultural society, large contribute to the environmental pollution. The several merit use of waste for SCP production, including first is the conversion of low cost of organic waste. Second is reduce environmental pollution. It is a very important merit. For example, Saccharomyces cerevisiae used for molasses and Caloromyces fragile for cheese whey. The next category include the production of SCP from wood. Cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin are good source of for the production of SCP. Cellulosic compound break down into fermentable sugar. For this purpose, utilize extracellular cellulose, bacterialized Cerulomonus species, fungi, Trichoderma, and penicillium species produce cellulose. This cellulose material used for the production of biomass and SCP used as an animal feed. The next category include the production of SCP from the carbon dioxide. The algae grow in a pond under the process of photosynthesis and require carbon dioxide as a carbon source and produce SCP. Example of algae produce SCP like Chlorella species, Sandensman species, Spirulina species. Chlorella algae used as a protein vitamin supplement for a baker and dairy products in some countries. Algae biomass harvested in dry powder form. SCP produced from algae used for animal supplement. Now let us see the nutritive value of Spirulina species. The SCP produced from Spirulina species contain 65% of protein, 20% of carbohydrate, 4% of fat, 3% of fiber, and chlorophyll is 5%, and then ash is 3%. The last category of raw material production of SCP from the sewage. A sewage used for a large production of methane. Nowadays, the sewage used for production of SCP, source of sewage like industry, society, etc. The sewage obtained from industry waste in cellulose processing, the starch production, and the food processing. This sewage utilized for SCP production. The during the paper manufacturing obtained sewage, this sewage contained candida utilized. This organism produce SCP. Other microorganisms obtained from sulfite waste liquor process such as Candida tropicals, Staphylococcus varioti are used for production of SCP. Now, after the selection of raw material, the second is the selection of microorganism. Microorganism used as a substrate for the producing of SCP like bacteria, yeast, fungi, algae, and actinomyces. Selection of microorganism on the basis of nutritive value, pathogenic nature, cost, raw material, and on the basis of pattern of growth. It should not be toxic. The next slide show the table composition of microorganism dry percentage weight. My latest this slide all this type of microorganism one by one. The first fungi N is filamentous fungi uses SCP production. Chaetomenium celluliticum, Fusarium, Gramineum, Bacillomyces varioti, Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus fumigatus, etc., which grow on sulfite waste liquor, contain protein 55%. SCP produced from is namely Candida utilis, Candida lipolytica, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and Candida tropical. Torula is obtained fermentation of molasses. It contains protein, carbohydrate, amino acid, and then Saccharomyces cerevisiae contain high in protein. Disadvantages of using fungi and yeast for the production of STP. First, it contains high nucleic acid. Second, the growth rate of fungi is slow than yeast and bacteria. Third is, and more chance of contamination. And fourth is, the produce toxin during this process like the mycotoxin. Next, bacteria contain 80% of protein and contain less amount of amino acid. Brevibacterium use hydrocarbon and then methylophilus, methylotrophus use methanol as a substrate. Some disadvantages here using bacteria. First, it is contain more nucleic acids. Second, problem of recovering cell. Third is produce toxin. Another important category of microorganisms include algae. Algae like Chlorella, Sindensman, Actus, Spirulina, maximum produce SCP and contain 60% of protein with amino acid. Chlorella and Spirulina algae used for commercial scale production in Taiwan, Thailand, and Japan. Certain advantages also, it contains high chlorophyll, therefore human cannot be utilized. It has a low density. There is a lot of chance of contamination. Next step is fermentation. Fermentation process carried out during the production of SCP, the fermentation, which equip aerator, thermostat, and pH, etc. The microbe are cultured in feed batch culture. In the feed batch culture, they are one or more nutrient types. Such bioreactor during cultivation and products remain in a bioreactor until end of one. After the fermentation, next type is harvesting. After development colony of microbe, then the harvesting process. Bulk of cell removed from the fermenter by decantation. After harvesting is the pore harvesting treatment. The first step is the process of separation. SCP produce organism cell like yeast, bacteria recover by the centrifugation, flocculation, and flotation process. And then filamentous fungi recover by the filtration process. After that, washing is done, separated biomass is washed, and then final round is drying after a removal of water. So another important is the production of SCP, that is the processing of SCP. This is the step depending on a substrate material and food applications. The two main processing include cell wall degradation and removal of nucleic acid in SCP production. The first is the cell wall degradation in SCP product. SCP used as a whole cell preparation while other cell wall broken down to make the protein more accessible. The first method includes disruption. The cell wall is mechanical method. In the mechanical method, use the crushing, cumbering, bending, and the pressure homogenizing for the degradation of cell wall and CP production. Second is the chemical method include use the hydrolytic enzyme like the endogenous or exogenous and use salt as a sodium chloride for cell disruption. And next method is physical method. In this method involve the freezing, thawing, osmotic shock, and drying and heating. These all methods used for the cell degradation of SCP product. Removal of nucleic acid in SCP product. There is a question: why removal of nucleic acid from SCP product? Because when SCP produced from human consumption, it contains high nucleic acid. Is a problem. Intake of purine compound derived from RNA breakdown increase the concentration of uric acid in plasma, which can cause kidney stone and gout disease. In this process, use ribonuclease enzyme and degraded RNA component diffuse out of the cell lost biomass. The treatment at 65 centigrade, pH 7.5 to 8.5 to active endogenous ribonuclease and also reduce RNA more than 2% and protein content as 50%. There's a certain limitation of using a single cell protein. There is the first limitation is nucleic acid content of microbial biomass is very high. This is a highly hazard for human. And second is in the SCP observe carcinogen and toxic substance. Third is this is include the hydrocarbon, heavy metal, toxin, some contamination. Fourth is production of SCP depend upon the raw material and organism. And limitation fifth is high risk of contamination of pathogenic microorganism in single cell protein. And the last limitation of using single cell protein is the food grade production of SCP is more expensive. SCP can be employed for the many application. It provides instant energy. It is good for eye and skin. It is a protein supplement for children. SCP is a good source of vitamin, amino acid, minerals, and fruit, etc. And application of SCP in therapeutic and natural medicine for the controlling obesity, lower blood sugar, diabetic patient, and SCP also used for reducing body weight, cholesterol, and stress, and prevention of accumulation of cholesterol in the body, and application used in the cosmetic products for maintaining healthy hair, and production of different herbal beauty products like the bioplastic herbal face cream, skin cream, etc. Application of SCP in poultry, also used in the poultry. My latest a quick review production of SCP. Selection of raw material with a high energy source waste product wood, carbon dioxide and sewage. After the select after the selectable after the selected suitable microorganism may be fungi, yeast, bacteria, algae. After that, the fermentation carried out, namely feed batch fermentation, is prescribed for the production of SCP. After the fermentation is completed, next step harvesting with involved decantation. Uh, Next step include the post-harvesting treatment, which includes SCP. Is include separation, washing, and drying. Next step is the processing of SCP, which includes the cell wall degradation and nucleic acid removal. Now, finally, after all this step, SCP ready to be the packaging and selling.